Alrighty, sweet. Let's get started. So if you guys can all really quickly, if you guys can hear me okay, if you guys can put a thumbs up in the air, great. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Michael, for having us at this event. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Hopefully one day we can all meet in person at any upcoming events in the future. My name is Jamel. I'm part of the O Street Solutions team. Um, I'm part of the growth and success management. Our pretty much our main objective is pretty much dedicating creating Atlassian tool sets for non-technical teams, making reporting in Jira and Confluence simple and easy for everyone to use. Um, so I would like to start off with a quote for this presentation, and that's without a game plan and without a strong sense of faith in what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to accomplish anything. And that's what I want you to keep in the back of your mind of some of the tools that you guys may be using that might be complex. It may be difficult for you guys to understand. And we'll talk a little bit more how custom charts or Jira reporting can set you up in a better position. So today, what I'll be talking to you about is Jira reporting best practices and give you a bit of an overview of custom charts. As far as what it is, who's it for, and then show you how to build simple reports using our add-on. If you guys, some of you guys may have a separate computer, so one of my co-hosts, either Chris or Yasik, will post the link to our interactive playground if you want to open it and play with it as we're going on through this presentation, and then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me afterwards. Sweet. So, okay, we'll start with reporting with the Overlord. So this is a general setup that we consistently see with most organizations. You have a reporting overlord that sits above the end users. They have access and can use great powerful tools such as, like Easy BI, Power BI, Tableau, data plane. And what that does is it creates a knowledge bottleneck and a time. So with the overlord sitting there, you have the end users such as yourselves who don't know how to utilize those complex tools. They're pretty much blind. And then what the overlord does is he ends up passing down those reports down to the end users, and then they pretty much do whatever it is that they need to do with it. So what that does is it becomes a knowledge bottleneck and a time bottleneck where the overlord sits above, and then with that high cost and that high business risk, you need to make sure that you have someone sitting in that chair that can actually do these type of reports, for such as like senior management, CEOs, etc. And then this is where we want to kind of position custom charts, where we don't want to substitute Easy BI. We don't want to say, okay, our reporting tool is better than Easy BI, Power BI. These overlords need these type of reports. But we want to do is give back the end users the capability of generating their own reports. So we have a saying here at Old Street Solutions that Easy BI, Power BI, those type of add-ons, those are for the 1%. But then we want to focus on the 99% of users who are looking to be able to create just on-the-go reports, stuff that it's not going to take them forever as far as the learning curve goes, to be able to produce these kind of things. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just jump right into our interactive playground. And if you guys can give me a thumbs up, and so I know that you guys can see my screen, that would be great. Sweet. So this is our interactive playground. Some of you may have seen it. Some of you may be new to it. You can go right to our website and actually play around with this. This is pretty much what our dashboards would look like. And you can have dashboards that look like this too. So one of the things that you may notice about custom charts is that it looks really nice to look at. It shows different displays of data, and you can have that exact too. We have, your typical tile charts. We have rag status. We have some stack bar charts. We have some line bar charts. So we have this thing. It's called a simple search, which allows you to dive deep into data. And we know that we have some issues that have to do with T. And if you do the searcher, you can actually see that you can connect it to the dashboards that you guys want to look at as far as the data goes. So we can see now that we have one thing to do, we have done. If you look at the rag status, it'll show you that you have 2. If you scroll down, you can see what's on your backlog, what was done and resolved. And then you can see the date that it was usually created and submitted, which is in March. Unfortunately, our data is not displaying properly, but we'll continue on. So right here, this is our Agile board summary. These are typical use cases that we see. You have here at the top, you have your chart types. So you have, your pie chart, if you want to do a 1D bar chart, stack bar charts, funnel charts, line bar charts, etc. So let's start off with the 1D bar chart. So here you have the feature where you have the drag and drop feature. You also have a color locker. So if you guys are looking for a little bit more professional reports and not the whole coloring, you do have the ability to lock those colors. You can also do a process order. So if you want to rearrange your order to big to small or small to big or alphabetical order, it's fully customizable. So let's take it a little step further and we'll say, we'll keep our backlog here, but I want to move my in review and in progress next to each other. I don't really care about blocked. So what I'll do is I'll hide the block segment and you'll be wondering, okay, where's my in review? Well, we don't show 0 counts, but if you want to turn that 0 count on, you can. And let's merge these 2 segments together. So if we say in review, now you can actually see that we merge those segments together. And as you can see right here inside the ticket, but then let's take it a little step further and then we'll change the name. So now you have your backlog, everything that's in your work in progress, you have done and resolved, and then we can just hide there in review. And then there you go. So this is what your typical Kanban board would look like. And if you click inside, you can see all the issues, who was working on it, what time was spent, etc. So now we'll jump over to the 2D stack bar chart or the stack bar charts. So now we're charting by status and we're grouping by assignee. But let's say you don't want to see, the count by issues. You want to see, let's say, something like story points. Now you can actually see, okay, our close rate is kind of good, but then you have to think about this person here on your backlog who has this many issues on this report. What is actually really going on? And this can be very helpful to kind of way to visualize your data a little bit better. So now, if you're a new person coming into using custom charts, or if you use custom charts and you kind of go on vacation and you don't know how to use it, we developed this splash screen feature, what it does is it gives you a 5-step tutorial on how to use custom charts. So you can actually click through, you can see pretty much all the sources that you can create reports for. You can chart by and then count by. This is the drag and drops, the renaming of the segments like I just showed you before. And you can chart by, save filters or chart by JQL. So let's take a look at some of the other use cases that we have. So this creative versus resolve is very common for users and highly requested. You can get creative with customization and add date fields options, such as you want to, let's say you have this overall and you want to, let's say, see an updated report. And then you can easily just change the color. And then there you go. So you can kind of visualize the data and understand what it is that I need. We also have some other ones such as, tile charts. So if you're looking for more visualization for your use cases, I can share with you our CTO, Tom, production dashboard and how he visualizes his data. And you can kind of create similar dashboards as well too. So this is what he looks at. So when a support ticket comes in, or he's looking to see how many people we have across our network, he can visualize data such as where custom charts and cloud server data center. He also has some other visualization tools as well. And here you can customize it pretty much however it is that you're looking for. Great. So if you're looking for different sources of pulling in data, we have the source option where you can use save filters, advanced JQL, simple search. So if you are pulling in data, let's say you're using out of the box reporting and you have that data saved, all you would have to do is click on save filters and then use the drop down, and it would automatically pull those issues into custom charts. And again, you can still reorganize the order. If you want to change the color, you have that ability to. And we can jump down to custom JQL. Now, custom JQL is one of my favorites that I like using, is because as long as you can create a JQL for it, you can create it and put it on a report. And let's just see if this will load. Sweet. So right now, this is what we have for JQL, and I'll switch to a single bar chart. So yeah, so like I was saying before, as long as you can write a JQL for it, you can create it. So what we'll do is we'll say, okay, project equals unicorn. And we'll say project equals support. And then we'll say support. And this is very easy to do. Any one of you guys can use this to kind of create your reports and customize it. Still change the color. So if you're a big fan of using JQL, which most of our customers are building reports from scratch, everything works. So now what I'll do is I'll jump into Confluence. So everything that I pretty much just showed you on Jira works exactly the same way on Confluence as well. It's a standalone add-on that allows you to create the same reports inside of Confluence where you may want to display data. This is also useful for users who may not have a Jira license. You can use to create the feature such as like user impersonation. And what user impersonation? This is helpful for users outside of your instance, such as customers, contractors, stakeholders who may not have access, and you can give them access to impersonate you to view the reports. We also added some security permissions set around it, so it's very secure. So if you don't want them to have access to the data inside your reports, we do have different display options where you can actually disable the click-through, and they're not able to click inside the data. So they'll only be able to see the reports that you've created. And you can also hide the impersonation. So if you don't want to see the user underneath, you can hide that as well. So now what I'll do is I'll show you some cool other features that we recently just released. And we'll just jump right back into the Agile board summary. And my apologies, usually on the weekends they're doing updates. Just see. Sweet. So while that's loading, what I can do is show you. So this is our public feature roadmap. These are the features that were currently released. And then this is what's in development currently. And then here is what our backlog looks like. So if you have any questions, I'll send this over to Michael and he will definitely push it out to you guys. If you guys have any features that you would like to see that would help any of your use cases, please feel free to reach out to us directly, and we'll be more than welcome to work with you and get it added to the backlog. If you look here on the right of the screen, we are creating some new features. So this is our active Twitter. Our developers update this, and what they're constantly working on, because we don't want to hide what we're working on for the customers. So we are working on some shared dashboards with some dark screen features, and you can see some of the concepts that we're creating right here. So let me just see. All right. Sweet. So some of the new features that we just recently released, chart descriptions. Chart descriptions was a big one and very highly requested because a lot of people are building these complex reports, and you don't want to go into a meeting and you're not present and they don't know what they're looking at. They can only see the data that you have. Okay, what's on our backlog, what's in progress, what's done. With the descriptions is now you can actually type your description. So we'll say Uh, this is this week's, and you can write your own, pretty much your own description of these reports. And what those reports will look like is if you want to PDF it or put it on a PNG, these reports would look like this. So if you look here at my RAG status, you can see it will show you red, amber, green. And if you're using something like tile charts, you'll then be able to add different descriptions. You can add links to it, pretty much update the status and more. Also, another couple of features that we have that I think you guys might find interesting is if you guys are using Jira and then you also have users using Confluence, or you have users using Confluence and then someone else is using Jira. We do have what's called an importing and exporting feature. What allows you to do is export that data and keep the same configurations of that report. So yeah, so let's customize this report a little bit, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean by that. So let's say we want to close out the block, and we want to change up some of the colors. So we'll say red here. We'll say Blade Runner, we'll change him to brown. And we just want to keep the same configurations. We don't want to show the axis label. Maybe we want some number counts, and we want to hide the legend. So what I can do now is hit the copy of the clipboard, and I can jump right into a Confluence page. And this is great for if you just want to send it to someone over in an email, or if you want to send it through Slack or whatever communication that you guys use, and for them to be able to put the report on their dashboard. And there you go. You still have the same configurations that we just moved from Jira over to a Confluence page. So that wraps it right about up. Just a brief overview of custom charts. Does anyone have any questions? You can put them right down in the bottom of the chat, Michael. Yes, so Story Point enables the team to estimate stories in comparison to other stories, instead of them like forcing them to determine a time on when it would complete. So I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, so I just added our CTO and product owner Tom to the call. He'll be answering, any complex questions that you guys may have. So feel free to direct your questions in the chat room, and he'll be more than welcome to answer those.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Happy to answer any questions or help out.
Hello, Haris. So you've explained what is a story point in Jira, but I'm new to this, so kindly explain what is a story in the context.
So this is, I can go through this, Jamal. So story points in Jira, I can go through from a starting point. So stories in Jira are a way of, it's an agile way of working, Scrum methodology. It's a way of breaking down work into chunks instead of using hours. I'll turn my camera on. So traditionally work is defined by hours. So you estimate, well, I'll do 10 hours of work and that's how long I think it will take. But people, humans in general, are pretty bad at estimating, particularly when it comes to hours. So story points are a way of estimating time spent using a slightly more arbitrary value. And story points can be broken down even further. One way of describing them is t-shirt sizing. So you say small, medium, or large, and you say, how big is this piece of work? And while people are bad at estimating in absolutes, this will take 10 hours, this will take 20, they're pretty good at estimating relative size. So is a task twice as big as something else? And that's what story points is trying to do. So with stories themselves, the reason they're called story points is in the context of agile development. You have epics. At the top, you have epics, or above that, you could have initiatives, but you have this idea of epic, and then story, tasks, and subtasks. And that's this hierarchy. And the idea is that the epic is the overall trend. So if we were developing a mobile app, for example, the epic could be to improve the user experience. And then the story, and this is how it's written, the story would be, as a user, I want to be able to reset my password more easily. That would be the story. So you have the epic user experience. The story would be, I want to reset my password more easily. The tasks from that would be, make a better help screen or make the button more obvious. And then subtasks could be broken down below those specific tasks into smaller pieces of work. And you estimate at the story level. So you estimate as a story how big you think that piece of work is going to be. And therefore you can look at an epic and you can say how many story points or how big is this epic. It's a different way of looking at a number of hours. You can say this epic is a relative size, and it means that over time the estimates get better. So the day one of a team, the estimates might be wildly off. You might say this is 100 story points, and then you look at the end of the sprint and you say, oh, well, we only completed 50. The idea is that after the first sprint, so you do your 2-week sprints in Scrum methodology, and then at the end of those 2 weeks, you'd say, okay, well, our velocity, how many story points we said we'd complete and how many we actually did, our velocity maybe is 50. Okay, so next time we're going to keep the estimates the same, but make sure we only say we're going to do the amount of work we think we can do. And that's why it's better than hours, because if you just estimate with hours, you'll always estimate, well, 40 or 80 hours. That's per person. That's how much time we have to use. But it tends to be less accurate and less reliable than story points. So that's why it's done like that.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. There's loads more information. I recommend, there's some really good Agile information. There's a great book that I personally recommend called The Phoenix Project. And the Phoenix Project is the seminal piece of work on like DevOps and Agile strategy, and it's really worth reading. It kind of explains this all as a nice story, talking about how this fits into Agile development, Toyota production system, the history of where it came from, and why it works. So I definitely recommend the Phoenix Project. Okay. There's another question in the chat. So is this question directly in relation to custom charts, if this is a question about the demo? So with that, this tool is mainly about reporting inside of Jira. So the reports themselves are just in Jira, and it's about viewing information from a single Jira instance in this case. So if you're looking for global reporting across multiple platforms and more complex reporting, there are other tools that do that. EasyBI and Tableau are really good reporting tools. They're incredibly capable. They're just very complex to use. So I'd recommend looking at some of those bigger tools to start with if you're trying to pull information from lots of different places. Okay, I'm just going to read the next question then. So suppose you have clients requests in JSM, Jira Service Management, and you would like to export them to Confluence. There's a way to export them in bulk as opposed to individually to view the SLAs. So depending on how you want to display data, it's possible to display the different the metrics and the charts and reports directly in Confluence. You can then, if you're viewing them on a Confluence page, you could PDF export the entire Confluence page. Would be a way to export them in Confluence, but you can also view them directly in Confluence as well. So yes, it's possible to do that. It just has to be set up with the correct permissions. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thanks for those questions. They are always good to go into a bit more detail. Like I said, my recommendations would be reading those books, particularly Phoenix Project is a great one. There's also the DevOps Handbook, which is a bit more technical, but gives you a lot more information as well. Yeah, so we've got another question now. Once you've created the custom charts, can you share them? Can you share those configurations to other users elsewhere? So the answer is yes, it's possible to export the configuration. So if you make a particular chart and you want to use it maybe as a template, then you can just export the configuration directly. So I'm going to answer two questions at once now with this. So I'm just going to, Jamal, if you stop sharing your screen, I can take over, I think. Thanks. Let me just load this up. So yes, one of the questions is where can we use it? And it's available in the Atlassian marketplace. I'm also going to go now to the playground, which I'm sure Jamal was using before, and then I'll show about the exporting configuration feature. So hopefully you can all see my screen there. So here, I'm just pasting the link into the chat. That's the reporting playground. That's what you're seeing here. And this reporting playground has links to the way you can download it and install it directly underneath. But for now, I'll just show you it on the playground like this. So if we jump to one of the charts, we can see here, this is the configuration. You call it my configuration. And then what you do is you just copy it to clipboard. And then when that's copied, you can jump to a different chart on a different dashboard. Maybe you could save it in a text file if you need to share with other people, send it to them, and all they have to do is paste it in. And you can see here it's just a string. And when I click import, it's going to re-import exactly the same configuration I had. So it's a great way to be able to quickly share and copy these charts between dashboards and between people. Okay. Okay, that's great. I'll stop sharing there. And if there are any more questions come through, happy to answer them. Otherwise, thanks so much for listening to Jamal's talk on reporting.
Yeah, so custom charts is available on all platforms. So cloud, server, data center, but as you know, with the Atlassian changing, but we are cloud first and then data center. So if you guys are looking for custom charts on any of those platforms, we do have it.
Yeah, so it's on all the platforms. It's most recent features are available on Jira 8, anything above Jira 8.0. It is available on earlier versions, but that's an old version. So Jira 8.0 and greater, and Confluence 7.0 and greater. So those are the supported versions currently. So we can talk about custom charts there. The question is, what specific plans you need to be on, premium, etc. So custom charts is a standalone add-on that is added to Jira or Confluence. So it doesn't come included with any of those plans, but it is available on any of those plans. So if you're using Jira Cloud, you can install it from the Atlassian Marketplace onto your instance, and it is available to all users. The data they can see is restricted by their permissions. So if you have a user that can only see one project, they can make a custom chart and show all the data just for that project. And if someone else creates a chart, an admin with access to everything, they can create charts and view reports from all the data. So it respects Jira permissions completely, but everybody on the instance is able to create dashboards and charts themselves. That's kind of the power of the tool. The fact that anyone can do it. You don't just need to be a super admin. People can self-serve and make reports for themselves.
It's kind of hard not having that face-to-face conversation.
No, it's good. It's good to get some questions through. It's helpful.
Yeah.
And they're all good questions. So, okay. Well, I'll pass back to you, Jamal, and leave you to it. Thank you.
Yeah. So appreciate it, Tom. Thank you. So yeah, if you guys do have any other questions or anything like that, I will leave my information at the bottom of the screen. Please feel free to shoot me over a message. You can add me on LinkedIn. More than welcome to help you with Jira reporting. If you want to do like a one-on-one demo session where we can actually talk face-to-face and I can get a better understanding of your use cases, please feel free to reach out. So I will send over Michael an email to share with you all. I appreciate you guys for having me, and attending this event. And I look forward to meeting you guys in the future, and let us know if we can help you with anything.